Hello, everyone. I'm Caitlin Arnett,
And I'm Jacob Roberts.
and today we are giving our group speech for COM181, and we're giving it over sexual assault on college campuses. And he's going to be telling you about the problems of it, and I'm going to be telling you about the solutions.
So, sexual assault is a pretty big problem in today's society off campuses, but it's even more of a problem on college campuses in the United States. So, sexual assault is characterized as like rape or any other kind of sexual advancement, like kissing, touching, groping of someone who did not consent to the activity. Um, so, a lot of big name organizations like the Association of American Universities are trying to run studies to try to determine the numbers of sexual assault on campus, so they can get all the problem to be aware, so people are aware of it on campuses. And so the Association of American Universities put on a survey that discovered that 23% of female college students have experienced some form of unwanted sexual contact, like kissing, touching, or rape. This is all carried out by force, the threat of force, or the victim is incapacitated because of drugs or alcohol. And so out of that 23%, 11% of the victims are victims of unwanted contact that includes penetration and or oral sex. So when you limit this survey to just female seniors of colleges, the number jumps to 26%, which is a really big jump for sexual assault. But these numbers for college seniors are higher at elite schools like the University of Michigan. There's 34% of female seniors say that they have been sexually assaulted at least once in their 4 years of school. And then at Yale, it's 32%, and then at Harvard, it's 29%. So these three schools it's pretty shocking that they have such high statistics for sexual assaults in 4 years. So one reason, and probably the biggest reason why sexual assault on college campuses goes unreported, or that it's such a problem on college campuses, is because it goes unreported, and normally women and men don't come forward about what happened. So the AAU survey that targeted 780,000 students across the nation, but only 150,000 of those students responded, which is only 19% of the total that were targeted. And so it also says that 50% of women who reported who report their cases or didn't report their cases think that it was not serious enough to report, or because they're ashamed, embarrassed, or it's too emotionally difficult, so they don't report it. So, but that isn't all. That isn't the only case. It says here that false reports of sexual assault are made, and that makes about 2% of the cases that are reported, and only 1 out of 10 cases of sexual assault are reported in a year or at college campuses. Another reason why it's such a problem is that 38% of assault is committed by a friend or an acquaintance, which makes cases even less likely to be reported to someone who needs to know about this stuff, and that can help the victim. So I have a couple stories about sexual assault on college campuses. One has to deal with a female, and one has to deal with a male. So the first one happened in 2008 to a student named Beckett Brennan. She was a basketball scholarship recipient at the University of the Pacific, and so it was her first year at college, and she was at a student housing complex on campus where she had 6 shots of vodka, and then the next thing she knew, she was stranded off campus without a ride back to her where she was staying at. And so 2 guys from the basketball team at the school where she goes to, who she probably knew, offered her a ride back to campus, and so she took it, and they led her back to the players' apartments where she thought that where there's another party going to happen at, or is at. But the 2 players led her up to one of their bedrooms, and they raped her there. And then once the 2 boys were done, there was a third friend that came in and also raped her by pushing her into a closet, taking off her clothes, and then raping her in the closet. Um, and while all this was going on, the guys filmed it, and you can hear on the tape like the girl asking, "Why are you doing this to her?" So after this happened, she got done with finals and she went home back to Colorado. And her friends knew about it, but they knew that she wanted to keep it quiet. But finally, they felt bad for her and told college officials. And so the campus police talked to the players and the three boys that were involved, but they all said that the act was consensual, and one boy said that he wasn't even there. Um, so the campus police also urged her to talk to the local police of where the college is located, but she didn't want to press charges. So after that, the school did take disciplinary action on the boys. They sat in front of a judicial board where they all were punished in some way. One boy who said that all of it was consensual, he was expelled, and so he's not allowed to attend that school anymore. Another boy, was only suspended for a year, and then the last was only suspended for a semester. So in cases like this, and the other one I tell you, oftentimes colleges don't even have policies in place to deal with male and or female assault cases, which is a huge problem. So that's why a lot of things don't ever get resolved, and that's why assault keeps happening on campuses. And so, like the case of Andrew, who was a freshman at Brown University in 2011, what happened to him, and how his assailant wasn't punished for previous crimes. He wanted to let other colleges know that that they need to have something in place to so he can prevent and or deal with things like this. So Andrew was a freshman in 2011. It was his sixth night at Brown University. He went to the community bathroom to just to brush his teeth, which is a simple task. When an older student of the college came in and was saying things like "you're hot," like no one has to know about this, he grabbed the older student grabbed Andrew's crotch and pushed him into a stall where he assaulted Andrew for 15 minutes. And so the entire time, Andrew didn't know what he was supposed to do. He was just staring, looking at the stall, trying to think that that's his escape. Is the only thing that's blocking him is the stall door. But after that he was assaulted, a few days later, he came out and told everybody what happened. And the assailant, who was an older student, was found guilty and was expelled from the school. But a little while later, Andrew found out that this same person was involved in other assault cases and wasn't punished for them. The school didn't punish him; that he wasn't criminally punished. So sexual assault is a huge problem in today's colleges. And so Katie here has a few solutions and other information about sexual assault on campus.
Okay. Well, first I want to tell you some other information, and then I'll go on with the solutions. But according to surveys from the National Center of Domestic and Sexual Violence, the NCDSV, over 40% of college women reported experiencing some form of violence or abuse behavior while dating. 31% of controlling behavior, 22% of physical abuse and threats or physical violence, 22% of verbal abuse, and 11% was pressured into drinking alcohol or using drugs. And now I want to tell you the top schools for sexual assault. And this actually really surprised me, considering the majority of these were Ivy League schools, such as Harvard, Brown, Stanford, Dartmouth, and then you have UConn and the University of Virginia. There's a lot more. And okay, so the ways to stop college assault. Well, college workers, faculty, and staff should encourage educational prevention and programming on campus, participate in faculty and staff training. They can be trained in how to respond and be aware of sexual violence. Okay, some ways students can, here's some ways students can feel safe when they go out, so they increase the safety on campus. Okay, so you should know your resources. You should stay alert. Be careful about posting your location. Like now, you can post your location on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. We all do that, including myself. And no one really thinks anything of it, but I guess it really can be dangerous. You should make others earn your trust. You should always have a plan B. Like, say if you did get in a situation where you were going out and you could be sexually assaulted, what would you do? Like, would you have a friend with you? Could you call someone? Would you have your phone? You maybe, probably not. So you should probably always think of a plan B. You always take someone to a party with you, and you need to be secure about everything. Okay, also another way to increase the safety of students should use the bystander effect. And that's like if a girl, was drunk or something, a guy was coming on to her, many people probably wouldn't do anything. They would just like let it happen or they just laugh about it because the girl was drunk. That's how people are nowadays. But if this was your friend, you'd want to get her away, like make sure she was safe, take her home, something like that. Okay, like safety in a social setting, protect your drink. Many people like you just lay down your drink, but that's really dangerous because you could always get drugged by laying down your drink, and you always should keep your drink in your hand. Okay, and another thing is recognizing abuse. It is extremely important for young adults to be able to recognize warning signs of abuse before an abusive situation escalates. The most common indicators of high-risk emotional or physical abuse are, well, there's emotional and physical, like I just said, or tone. You like some harmless statements can transform into threats, insults, if your partner uses an aggressive tone. Language choice. A partner blames you for things, uses coarse language, swears while talking to you. Jealousy, controlling statements, threats. This basically happens to anyone. Physical abuse such as violence, threatening body language, damaged property, violence during sex. Okay, feeling safe after an assault. Make use on campus. Many people, like, when they get sexually assaulted, they won't tell anyone because they're embarrassed, and they shouldn't be like that. But like a way, feeling safe after an assault, you could use your campus resources. You have your counselors, you have your security escorts, your sexual assault securities. Request a schedule house or a schedule change. Life, if you have done the same, many people, like he was talking about, know the person who done this to them. So they probably might have classes with them where they could live in the same house, because they have the co-ed dorms now. So you should always try to change your schedule or something like that. And
so sexual assault on campuses are a pretty big problem nowadays, as we talked. Women should come out and tell if they were abused or not. A lot of things she said was good ways to prevent it, or easy ways to come forward if it does happen to you if you're a victim. A lot of colleges nowadays have different resources. Like at Harvard, there is a sex prevention department that the school has that can help inform students about all this stuff, like informing students about sexual assault, how to prevent it, and what to do if you're a victim or if someone else is a victim. So just make sure to be educated about this situation. It's very common, so just don't. If you need more information, look it up online. There are a lot of different stories out there about other students in different college settings that this happened to, and they all are trying to just get their stories out so it won't happen to anyone else. We're all college students in the class, so it's a pretty big deal.
Thank you for watching.